it's Enigma, and a while back I was doing a bit of, I guess you can call it summer cleaning, when I ended up finding this little guy. This is an iPhone SE 2nd generation, and well, I ended up buying this because I wanted a decent iPhone at the time, but didn't want to spend the money for the flagship. I've always had a bit of a mixed relationship with Apple. I didn't really like them, but whenever I needed them, I always just grabbed whatever I could get at like a mid-range price point. And this was a good phone for that time. In fact, literally as soon as they announced the 3rd generation iPhone SE, I ended up grabbing it. And recently I ended up making the upgrade to the iPhone 17e, which has been an incredible breath of fresh air. I mean, this little guy has done so much more in the past, well, in the past while, but that also could be because I've been sticking with the 3rd gen SE. But going back to the 2nd gen SE, I realized quickly that this, well, even though it's still receiving some updates, I have never once updated this thing, and it got me thinking, what exactly can I do with this? And I was thinking back to my old iPod, and I thought, why not try doing the same thing that I did with the iPod that I did with this. Now this is running iOS 18, which is pretty old. I mean, compared to what you can run right now on an iPhone. But I'm glad that I neglected the updates for this thing because it made the process a lot simpler. So what I ended up doing is I ended up taking this iPhone, I just ended up doing a complete factory reset, and I ended up setting it up as if it was new. However, I never connected it to the internet so that I couldn't get any of the updates, and when I finally did connect it, it was mainly just to see if I could refresh some of the music that I ended up putting on this thing. Now, I ended up downloading the iTunes application for Windows and loading my music onto this thing that way, and I essentially turned the iPhone SE 2nd generation into an iPod Touch. I mean, in fact, this thing is loaded with tracks of some of my favorite video games and even some of my favorite rock bands. There are a few drawbacks to this, but for the most part, for what I used it for, it's pretty good. Turning this thing into an iPod Touch is one of the best decisions that I ended up making because not only is this thing completely offline, it's also still usable. I can easily copy some of my CDs that I have and put them into this device. And yes, I can do the same thing with the iPod, but this right over here just makes it a little bit more simple when it comes to some of the other things that I like. For example, the thing that I don't like about the iPod, which even though it's kind of like the reason why I ended up doing it, but at the same time, I kind of miss the convenience, is the headphones. Unless you were to do the mod for the iPod in which you have the attachment to connect a Bluetooth headset, you're not going to be able to do that. You're stuck with nothing but the wires. But by using an iPhone SE and using it as an iPod, I can easily connect some of my wireless headphones and listen to my music that way, which is good, especially if I want to work out. Yes, I could listen to music on my regular cell phone, but the last thing that I want are those pesky ads and those annoying notifications. Yes, I could turn those off on my phone, but there's already a lot of stuff on my phone that I need, and I don't want to get any distractions when I'm working out, so it's always better to just have a designated device for these items. And putting music on this thing is very easy. All you have to do is just drag and drop your files into iTunes, but there is a bit of a problem. The biggest problem involves Apple and, well, iTunes, because iTunes support is completely gone. They discontinued using iTunes and have steadily promoted using Apple Music, and it sucks because iTunes is pretty much the whole reason why people ended up getting into owning an iPod. There is some good news though. You can still download iTunes on a Windows machine and use it that way. Now, I ended up uninstalling iTunes because something weird ended up happening when I installed it. Now, this could just be a user error, or this could just be Apple software not running well on Windows. I mean, it never did when I was growing up. But when iTunes is installed, my Windows machine, it just starts acting up. It's it's not good. So occasionally I'll just uninstall and then reinstall it when I need to, and then just vice versa. So that's literally all I'm gonna be doing. So if I really need, if I'm gonna be modifying another iPod, I'll just reinstall it. If I'm gonna be doing or adding more stuff to this, I'm just gonna end up doing it that way. Given the storage on this might end up getting filled up a lot quicker. In Spanish, there's a saying, lo barato cuesta caro. That means what is cheap gets expensive. And in my case, I ended up cheaping out on everything. So on this thing, I ended up getting the 60 gigabyte version. On my 3rd gen SE, I ended up getting the 128 gigabytes. And on the 17E, I ended up getting 250. Now, given I have learned to gradually take my workload, because I do a lot of the stuff that I need to for YouTube and for all of my other social media on an iPhone, and I've also learned how to back up everything on flash drives. But going back to the subject, if you have an old iPhone that you don't want to use anymore, I do recommend that you, at the very least, just back up everything before you decide to do this. Back up all of your data, and when you're done, just reset everything and start using this as an iPod, because you would be surprised as to how usable this is in this day and age. And everything that I did for this thing is completely offline, and to keep it that way, I also keep airplane mode enabled. You can still find good uses for older devices. You just have to be willing to get a little creative with everything that you're doing. And it doesn't just have to be with an iPhone. I mean, I'm literally using the Apple products that I have because I'm working with what I own. But you can also do this with various Android devices. In fact, I think Android is so much better if you're going to be using like a designated music player. If you have an old Android device, you could just repurpose it that way. Although the one thing that I am kind of mad about, which is also kind of counterintuitive to what I just said, is the fact that there is no headphone jack on this thing as well. But that's a simple fix. If I want to use the headphone jack, I can just use my regular iPod. If I want to use like my Bluetooth headphones, I can just switch over to this. I ended up copying my music library on my iPod and put it onto this little guy. So depending on what I want, at least I have a choice. Anyways, that's the end of the video. I really hope you all enjoyed it. I highly recommend you do this. If you did, well, let me know in the comment section down below. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on those post notifications so you never miss out on a video or a live stream. And if you would like to help support the channel just a little bit, check out buymeacoffee.com/Enygma. Links for everything will be down in the description box below. And as always, this is San Diego Shooting Star signing out.